Have you ever paused and, felt that there's maybe a deeper you beyond just your busy mind or your daily emotions or even your physical body? What if there was an ancient yet remarkably clear sort of roadmap to understanding that fundamental distinction, revealing what is truly temporary in your experience and what might be, well, eternal? Today, we're taking a deep dive into precisely that. We're exploring chapter 13 of the Bhagavad Gita, often known as the Yoga of the Field and the Knower of the Field. Our mission here is to swiftly bring you up to speed on one of the most profound philosophical sections of this revered text. You'll walk away, hopefully, with a clear understanding of the material world versus the spiritual self, and maybe a practical pathway towards liberation through knowledge. So let's begin this journey.
Yeah, and it's important to clarify right from the start. This isn't just some abstract academic exercise. While it's ancient, this chapter provides a really practical framework for understanding the nature of reality and, fundamentally, your place within it. At its heart, it offers a lens, you could say, through which to discern between the fleeting and the everlasting within your own existence. This knowledge isn't just about what you know intellectually, but how you perceive everything around you and within you. Okay, right, let's unpack this then, starting with the first major concept, the field, or Kshetra. Now, when we talk about this field, what is it, truly? Krishna, who's speaking in the Gita, starts by identifying your physical body as the main field of activity, like the stage where life happens. But the Gita's definition is actually far more encompassing than just, flesh and bones. It really redefines our whole realm of experience. What's often the most surprising part of this field for people who maybe think of it just physically? That's a really good question because, many people assume field is just our physical body or surroundings. But the Gita profoundly broadens this. So beyond the 5 great elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, the basic building blocks, it includes our entire sensory apparatus and even our inner mental world.
Oh, okay.
So this means your 10 senses, not just perception like eyes, ears, but also action like your hands, feet, your voice, they're all part of this field. But here's a kicker, really. Your mind, your intellect, and even your ego, that very sense of I, are also considered temporary aspects of material nature, part of the field.
Wow.
Which, fundamentally challenges our usual modern idea that our thoughts are personality as our true self.
That is a powerful distinction, yeah. So it's not just the outside world, but our inside world too, thoughts, feelings. The source material really emphasizes how this field also includes the objects of the senses, the actual sounds you hear, the sights, the tastes, and even the emotional, the psychological experiences that come from interacting with those objects. Desire, aversion, pleasure, pain, all of it. Just think about that for a moment. Your entire rich tapestry of daily life, from joy to sorrow, curiosity to maybe irritation, it's all considered part of this vast temporary field. It's like the dynamic arena of our conditioned existence.
Exactly. It's your whole experiential landscape, not just a physical space. Defining it this comprehensively, it really shifts our perspective, doesn't it? Because if all these things, physical, sensory, mental, emotional, even our sense of self, if they all make up the field, the temporary stage, then, the critical question arises. What isn't part of it? What's left? What remains beyond this temporary, always changing experience? And that naturally leads us straight to the knower.
Perfect segue, yeah. So if the body and all its associated experiences, the elements, senses, mind, emotions, are the field, then who, or maybe what, is the knower of that field?
Yeah.
The Kshetrajña. This is described as the consciousness, right? The eternal soul dwelling within the body, aware of all the activities happening in the field, like a silent witness. It's essentially your awareness, that part of you that observes your thoughts, feels your emotions, perceives the world, but without being those things itself. It's that consistent I that seems to remain even when thoughts and feelings come and go.
And the Gita introduces a really profound subtlety here. Because while the individual soul, yes, is the knower of its own specific field, its own body and mind, Krishna reveals that he, as the Supreme Lord, is the ultimate knower of all fields, all bodies, all minds. So this isn't just about individual awareness then. It points towards a universal consciousness, an underlying awareness that sort of pervades everything and connects all individual experiences. So while you are the observer of your personal field, you're also intrinsically connected to this larger, all-encompassing knower. That perspective really reframes how we understand both ourselves and, divinity.
That's a crucial insight, that universal consciousness beneath it all. It takes it from being just personal to something much, much bigger. Okay, so if we get this distinction, the field and the knower, What kind of knowledge actually helps us grasp this, to really internalize it and maybe move towards liberation? Because it's clearly not just about, piling up intellectual facts. Krishna actually defines true knowledge by listing 20 specific qualities that act as transformative tools for the mind. Out of those 20, are there one or two that you feel are particularly striking or maybe even counterintuitive for someone exploring this today?
Yeah, that's a powerful part of this chapter, defining knowledge not just as concepts, but as qualities we actually embody, how we live. Humility and modesty, for instance, are incredibly impactful. Humility isn't just being meek, it's about actively, systematically dismantling the ego's constant chatter. That voice saying, I know best, I'm important.
Right.
When that ego softens, the knower, the true awareness, can shine through more clearly. Another really profound one, I think, is seeing the inherent suffering in birth, old age, disease, and death. Now, that sounds morbid, maybe, but it's not meant to be. It's a powerful realization. It helps cultivate detachment from the temporary, perishable aspects of the field. It helps you focus on what is unchanging, your eternal essence, the knower. It's really a catalyst for deeper introspection, for rethinking where we place our real value.
Those are transformative insights, absolutely. It's about cultivating a way of being that just fundamentally shifts your perspective. And other qualities mentioned, like nonviolence, patience, purity, self-control, detachment from sense objects, these aren't just ethical rules dropped from above, they are pathways, ways to gain deeper insight into reality itself. It's like they prune away the weeds, the distractions and entanglements of the field, letting the knower become more apparent. Okay, so now, if we're cultivating this true knowledge through these qualities, what's the ultimate object of this knowledge? What are we actually striving to comprehend through this profound self-transformation? The Gita introduces Brahman, the supreme reality, as that ultimate object, the underlying truth of everything.
Right, and this is where the text uses such beautiful, almost poetic, but also paradoxical language. Brahman is described as beginningless, without end.
Yeah.
Present everywhere, yet simultaneously beyond everything. The light of all lights, transcending darkness, and maybe most profoundly as residing within all hearts as the ultimate reality.
Paradoxical is the word.
Exactly, and those paradoxes are essential. Why? Because Brahman isn't something our finite minds can just neatly label or define with our limited words. It forces us to stretch our understanding beyond purely intellectual limits. It hints at a truth that transcends what we can think to what we might realize or experience. And this ultimate reality, it's described as being both everywhere in the macrocosm and right within your own heart, the microcosm. This makes that inner spiritual journey fundamentally connected to understanding the entire universe. The inner and outer truth become one.
Wow. So if this ultimate reality is both cosmic and incredibly personal, let's bring it back to our experience right now. What does this all mean for us, day to day? How do the field and the knower actually interact? And how does that interaction lead to our experiences of pleasure and pain? And maybe most importantly, what's the roadmap out of this entanglement, this cycle? The Gita explains that all creation, everything moving and non-moving, is basically born from the union of material nature that's the field and the soul that's the knower. The soul, the knower, is the experiencer of the qualities that arise in material nature. And it's precisely this entanglement, this identification with the temporary qualities and events of the field that leads to our experiences of pleasure and pain. It binds us to the cycle of cause and effect. It's like we get so absorbed in the movie playing on the screen that we completely forget we're the ones sitting there watching it.
That movie analogy is perfect, yes.
Don't forget.
We're the audience. So the roadmap out is essentially about disentangling, about remembering who you are. And Krishna outlines different methods, different paths for achieving this liberation by realizing the distinction between the field and the knower. Importantly, these aren't mutually exclusive paths. They often weave together, and different approaches will resonate more strongly with different people, different temperaments.
Makes sense.
So one path is meditation, directly perceiving the self within oneself through deep inward focus, quieting the mind. Then there's knowledge, or jnana yoga, which is what we've been discussing, understanding these philosophical principles, body, soul, their interaction. A third is action, karma yoga. This means performing your duties, your work in the world, but without attachment to the results. Imagine doing your daily tasks not for praise or personal gain, but purely as an offering, maybe, as a way to purify your consciousness. How might that shift the very nature of your work, your relationships?
That's a profound shift in perspective right there.
And finally, there's devotion, or bhakti yoga. This involves focusing love and worship towards the Supreme Person, often guided by hearing about him from a genuine spiritual teacher.
It's really powerful that these diverse paths, meditation, knowledge, action, devotion, they all lead to the same essential goal. Realizing that you are the eternal, unchanging soul, completely distinct from the temporary body and its roller coaster of experiences, the field. So for you listening, maybe consider these varied approaches. Which path, or maybe which combination, resonates most with you right now? Or perhaps which one highlights an area of your life where you could consciously start shifting your focus from identifying with the field to remembering you're the knower. And that brings us towards the end of our deep dive today. We've explored chapter 13 of the Bhagavad Gita, journeying from that expansive definition of the temporary field, your body, senses, mind, emotions, all the way to the eternal knower, the soul, the consciousness within you. We also touched on those essential qualities that constitute true spiritual knowledge, the ultimate object of that knowledge, Brahman, and the practical paths available for liberation.
Yeah, the core message really is about that fundamental shift in perspective. Moving your identification away from the external material world and its fleeting experiences, towards the internal spiritual essence of your being. Recognizing moment to moment, if possible, that you are the observer, not the drama being observed. And maybe, as you reflect on these Gita insights, consider this final thought, something to mull over. How might consciously, deliberately discerning the field from the knower in your own life transform your experience of pleasure and pain? Or even change your approach to the inevitable challenges the Gita points out: birth, old age, disease, death. What kind of freedom, what inner space might that offer you in your daily life, your interactions, your understanding of who you truly are?
Those are definitely powerful questions to ponder. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into one of humanity's most timeless and, I think, practical texts. We really encourage you to continue exploring these profound ideas and discover what resonates most deeply with you. Until next time.